Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain Q&A, this time for Super Mario Maker 2. Now, as many of you know, Andre and I actually got a chance to go hands-on with Super Mario Maker 2, and we've already put out a few videos, including a preview and 10 things we've learned about the game. However, we're sure that there's still plenty of things you guys still want to know, so we put out the call for questions, and we got a lot. So let's just start running through these and see what we got. And right off the bat, we have Mikkel on Twitter who wants to know, can the nighttime theme be used without the gimmick? And I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So yeah, real quick, I mean, obviously we didn't play a ton of the game, so we can't speak concretely about everything. But in this case, you know, as far as I can tell, I don't think you can. Like, I think they are part and parcel with the moon or the night theme. So it's just like choosing any level theme, really, right? If you're in the jungle, you get water. If you're in the castle, you get lava. If you're playing at night, you're gonna get those night physics. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case, especially since the only thing you can kind of get rid of is the moon. Like, you don't need the moon there and have its effects be there. You can just, once you unlock it, hey, the night theme's there, and you can do all these different things.
Yep.
So, yep. Next up, we have Builds, who wants to know, can you have multiple sub-areas per level, or is it still limited to just one? I wouldn't mind either way, but it'd be nice.
It seemed like it was limited to just one. So the way it works is when you enter a sub-area now, it asks you right away, by the way, if you want vertical or horizontal. And when you choose one, you're kind of locked to it, because I believe if you switch to the other, it will basically reset everything. You have to start over from scratch. So I know that's not what you asked, but I wanted to give you some insight into it in this case. And I'm pretty sure you're just locked to those two. Unless it's another, unless it's something somehow we missed, I think it's the exact same limitation as the first game in that respect.
Yeah, it seemed to be the case. Next up is Chronic Heart, who wants to know, can you make a level star Luigi, Toad, or Toadette for single player, or are they only there for multiplayer?
So, yes and no, kind of. So, to my understanding is, when you design a level, as a creator, you don't choose who the player plays as. However, the player can. They can play as whoever they want, apparently, according to Nintendo. So you could put in like a suggestion in your title, perhaps, or like within the level itself, like, hey, maybe play as this character, but for better or worse, it's up to the player who they play as, which is kind of cool, but it does come at the expense of being able to theme your level around a specific character, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they also, because of that, they made sure all these characters play exactly the same. It's just cosmetic. However, the only limitation as far as using these other characters is the story mode. You have to play as Mario for story mode.
And we might be answering more questions here, Derek.
Right,
You're burning through potential answers.
Fine. Well, I guess tied into this, we have Enclosed Granddad, who wants to know, do Luigi, Blue Toad, and Toadette have to be unlocked? And I don't believe so.
From everything we can tell, that doesn't seem to be the case. Again, we don't know for sure, but it seems unlikely. It seems like they'll all be available from the get-go. Again, as you just said, they're available from the start, or they're all available, or they all play the same, rather, and, the fact you need them for multiplayer. So, yeah, it seems like they're all there.
Yeah, seems to be the case. C. Tarno12 wants to know, how's the music?
It's good. I mean, most of it, when you're playing the game itself, like, it's pretty standard stuff. It's from the actual games themselves. So the music when you're playing the actual stages are going to be as good as any of the other Mario games for the most part. However, I think, Derek, you will agree with me with this. When you're editing, especially in the new or in the new level themes, but especially in the new 3D world style, oh god, I love how it sounds.
It does. It sounds so good.
It's so catchy.
It's just immediately gets you that happy feeling, just how it comes together and works so well. And even the new themes, like we played through, I believe, the snow area for the original Super Mario Brothers, and that new song was nice. Like, it kind of reminded us of something, but we couldn't quite place it. But it was still really entertaining.
Oh, that's still bugging me. It's on the tip of my tongue of what it reminds me of. It's there, and I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah. So the new music seems to be pretty good, especially in the editing, and that's something the original Super Mario Maker completely nailed as well. I love some of the background music, and they're really stepping up a notch for this one, it seems.
Absolutely.
Oh, also, real quick, a little fun fact. Is the fact that the composer who made some of our own music for us, being Peach Toadstool, he recently made a Super Mario Maker version of our discussion theme for us, which we'll probably use in this video as well. And something he noticed is that the boss in the that are now part of the Super Mario 3D World editing music, the ones that I point out on Twitter I really like, are apparently right from the same keyboard he uses, the Roland keyboard. It's the exact same samples.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought it might be something Nintendo recorded themselves. No, it's pretty standard stuff actually.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We have Super Graham Law Maker 2 wants to know, can you set the time higher to give people more time to play longer levels?
We didn't check this out ourselves, but I mean, it seems, I'm pretty sure we saw it before, they can at least set it to what the original Mario Maker is. Whether you can go beyond that, I don't know. I wish we had checked that, because that's one of my biggest issues with the original game, is how short the timer could be for these really long levels. So I really hope there's an infinite option. Like, that would be fantastic, but we're useless on this one.
A little bit, unfortunately. Let's see. Hudene wants to know, are there any more power-ups that haven't officially been revealed? Penguin suits and frog suits would make for some amazing water levels.
Yeah, wouldn't they? What I can say is that, we did that update on the hammer power-up that, that seemed to be announced in the Japanese Direct, or maybe not announced, but shown. And we didn't see any sign of that, which was interesting. So, and Nintendo did say, did also hint at while almost everything will be unlocked from the get-go, there will be some unlockable. So I do wonder what those could be. Probably the hammer.
Yeah, I mean, no idea about penguin suits or frog suits or anything like that, but something at least, something I guess on the minor end of the spectrum is unlockable with this game.
Mm-hmm.
So
seems to be, yeah.
Yep. Gus Bus 6 Volt wants to know, how do you change characters? The music shown in the music sound effects is just those... Oh wait, these are two different questions. His other question is, the music shown in the music sound effects, is it just those songs that are available? Or can it be another song from that specific sound effect? Example, putting in the GameCube sound effects puts in Rocco Harbor instead of Delfino Plaza. I'm not sure what he's getting at if the music bit's there.
He's talking about the sound effects, because there's now a music tab you can actually add music to the game. You did the Super Famicom icon from the Direct,
right?
And how, it adds Mario Kart music, so there's other icons for other systems. Unfortunately, that's something we didn't get to play around with much, so I can't say definitively. What I can say, though, is it does seem like every object that was a single, that's returning from the original Mario Maker, in the original game, each one had two different versions, whereas it seems like they split that up now in the newer game, in Mario Maker 2, so everything's its own individual object. So unless they have additional properties that we haven't seen, I don't think they're going to have other options. But again, I can't say concretely, so that's something we'll explore when we get the final game in.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same way with the how do you change characters. We didn't get a chance to change them as we were playing, and otherwise we just played it with multiplayer.
Well, we know how that works. So
okay.
Nintendo told us that you can change a character on the settings screen. So you choose ahead of time who you're going to play every level with. When it comes to multiplayer, there is no choice. It assigns it, I think, based on what controller you're playing as, or maybe by the order you log into the game as. So you're stuck with whatever order you seem to hop in at. But yeah, so unfortunately you can't really choose when playing a multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. So next up we have Amiibo costumes are gone. This is from Von Cena, I should say. Amiibo costumes are gone, but is there any trace of the Mystery Mushroom or the Tall Mario Mushroom?
It didn't seem to be. There didn't seem to be any trace there that, from what I saw. It's possible it's a property now of the Super Mushroom. I don't think I checked that in our footage. I would be surprised if it's not there in some form, though. So maybe, or rather, the Mystery Mushroom. So maybe it's an unlockable. But as far as far as it pertains to the costumes, I think those are gone. I think at best it may be like a Skinny Mario thing if it is in fact back. I think Nintendo confirmed to us that the costumes are gone. So
yeah, and as far as the Tall Mario Mushroom, we didn't play the Super Mario Brothers theme that much. So it might be in there, but we did not see any sign of it during our gameplay. Granted, that's only maybe like 10 minutes, so,
Yeah, exactly.
It takes a little bit. Mohammed wants to know, can I follow to creators I liked? And I have a timeline to see levels published by the people I follow. I believe they said this during the Direct, that this is possible, correct?
Yeah, I think they reiterated that to us during the presentation they had at the event too. So it's something we didn't see in action ourselves, but that seems to be pretty much a guarantee. So yeah.
All right, next up we have Mitchell, who wants to know, are there any new enemies in the game that they didn't show off in the Direct?
I'm pretty sure they showed off pretty much everything in the Direct in terms of like the objects, like the base objects. I think I think there's points where they go through the entire wheel, the entire like sequence of wheels. So, if there's any new enemies that we saw that haven't already been revealed, they didn't stand out to me. So
yeah, exactly. I think unless they're unlockable again, we're not sure.
Yep. Bingo.
But it seems like we've seen everything. It's just a matter of seeing them in all their different forms, because I saw the Super Mario World form of the pumpkin Goombas, or whatever they're called. I thought were really cute.
Yeah, Goombrats.
Goombrats, that's what they are. Yeah. Let's see. Amazing Vocalist wants to know, so many people are saying they will not buy the game after the announcement of no friends online. Do you think that this ruined the game, or do you think the game will still just be as amazing as before?
Okay, so I completely understand the disappointment. I'm disappointed too. Some of the hot takes out there are just ridiculous. Like 2 weeks ago, we didn't even know they had online multiplayer at all. So the fact, and people were still jazzed for the game. So the fact that it's missing a subset of a feature we didn't even know existed in the first place, and people are now talking about not buying it in general, that to me is just kind of a little bit ridiculous. Now, I mean, to be fair, if they weren't going to buy it originally, and because of the lack of multiplayer that we didn't know about at the time, that's fair. But some of the reactions are just like completely over the top on this. I think it's stupid. I think there should be online friend multiplayer, but the base experience is still making and playing stages, and that's still there with far more content than existed before. So does it ruin it? No. Do I wish it were there? Yeah. Do I think it's a really dumb decision that's not? Of course. I still think it's looking to be an amazing game, though. So yeah, for as silly as that thing is, I think the game itself is still going to be fantastic.
I mean, I just have to echo you, because yeah, what we played was a lot of fun, and it did make me want to try just online multiplayer. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun with friends or whatever, but still, just that competitive aspect, or hey, all of a sudden you have the freedom to be a complete jerk to people online, thanks to this competitive aspect, and you don't have to care who they are because it's anonymous. But yeah, obviously it'd be awesome if the option was there, but we're still going to get this game. You're still going to get this game. Let's be honest. So. Oh yeah,
I'm super hyped. I mean, again, online multiplayer wasn't even a sure thing until just weeks ago. So, the fact it exists at all, is something that I think we should be excited for, even if it's not as fully featured as it should be. And honestly, I think that's something Nintendo's going to change. I feel like there's going to be an update that will add proper online multiplayer with friends. And if I were Nintendo, I would get out ahead of this and be like, yo, we understand your concerns. We're gonna fix this. It may not be in a day one update, but it's coming. So maybe, but then again, it's Nintendo, so maybe it won't come at all.
I mean,
who knows?
It would make for an easy Mario Maker 2 E3 announcement.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just open and close with that.
Yeah, there
it's a 5 second. Perfect. It's a 5 second direct.
Perfect. All right, next up we have Rosso, who wants to know, does the title screen have hidden gimmicks like in the first game? In particular, the bird that repeats what you say.
Unfortunately, that's something Nintendo wasn't really letting us check out at the event. We did see the title screen in the Game Center CX footage, and it seemed very similar to the original. So we don't know for sure whether the Easter eggs are back or not, but I would be surprised if they're not back. With them bringing back almost everything else from the original game, I'd be shocked if that's not also here.
Yeah, I mean, they put us right into the middle of action when we went into gameplay, so there was not even an opportunity to be on the main screen. So, can't say for sure yet, but I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Yep.
Mondu wants to know, how do the physics feel? From every trailer, it looks like Mario controls different to Mario Maker 1. He seemingly has more acceleration and top speed, noticeable in the 3D world theme.
Yeah, I mean, that might be. I mean, the thing is about the 3D world style is that it is pretty much completely separate from the others. So I wouldn't be surprised if it actually does have different physics to the others, because it doesn't need to maintain compatibility with the other styles. If you change a style from 3D World to the others, or vice versa, it's going to delete everything in your stage. As for the other styles, the ones returning from Super Mario Maker, I didn't notice it behaving any different, but then again, it's not something I would count on myself noticing necessarily at the event unless they were substantially different. So it's probably something I would want to explore more when we get the final game in, but it seemed pretty similar to the original game. As for 3D World, though, I wouldn't be surprised if that actually is different, because there are many things different about that style.
Well, I think Mario has a double boost in that, right? He has like that first burst of speed and then the second burst of speed where he's really running. So
yeah, it seems like
just that is different.
Yeah, just that. He has multiple different moves. The cap power-up changes everything. He's got a long jump now. Like, it's crazy how different it is. So I would not be surprised if that really is different. So
yeah, and we didn't get to play much, but the little I played of the other styles, they seemed the same they didn't feel that different to me, just off on a visceral basis. Like, I didn't go into this and be like, what the heck is going on? Why does this feel so different? It's like, no, this is pretty comparable. Mm-hmm. So next up is Joey AD Games, who wants to know, is it difficult to be precise in build mode without a stylus? Do you find yourself often placing items where you don't intend? Also, can you copy and paste entire sections of your level from one place to another, or do you have to rebuild entirely in the new location?
If it means in the primary area, it seems to work just like it did in the original Super Mario Maker, where you can copy or move an entire segment to another portion of the same area. However, if he's asking about copying between sub-areas from the primary area to the sub-area or vice versa, I don't know. I didn't fully check that, so I hope that's there, but I don't know if it is or not. Because it wasn't knowing to rebuild it in the original game, as there was no way to copy elements directly from one to the other. As for the handheld usage, I didn't play around with it enough to say for sure. Like, I thought it worked pretty well from my experience. But I didn't play nearly enough to say whether or not it could be an issue. But I have played the original Mario Maker quite a bit without a stylus because I lost my stylus.
You lose every stylus.
and I think the dimensions are the exact same. I know the screen's the exact same size, and I think the dimensions as far as the stage itself are the same. So I could see it being an issue because it could be a little bit tricky to grab specific objects in the original game using your finger instead of a stylus. So I can't say for sure. So yeah, I mean, potential issue, but I think that's something we'll explore more when we get the final game in, because we just did not have enough time at the event to really see how it's going to work in it, when building a proper level.
Mm-hmm. Like we cannot emphasize enough how much it felt like, hey, here's this. Okay, you're done with that. Move on to the next thing. It's just hard to take anything in with any major consistency. But then we have Samurai Bry here with the next question. Wants to know, is the day and night levels gimmick in 3D World as well, or is that exclusive to the 2D Marios?
If it is, we didn't see it. So unless it's maybe an unlockable, it doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I don't think we took the time to look at that. I don't think we unlocked the mood until towards the end when we didn't have that. But I don't think the sun is actually available.
It's not available
in 3D World, so probably not is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. I don't know if we were able to test this one, but Daniel Ostrowski wants to know, what music does the 3D World airship theme use?
We didn't check it out ourselves, but there is another question coming up I saw, which I'm going to answer now anyway. Because someone else asked, what style is the airship? And as I predicted, which I'm really happy about, it is in fact the dark cloud background, like where you can see like the castles in the background, or like the spires of a castle, I suppose, with shooting stars going off or in the background from the original trailer. So that is what the airship style is in 3D World. So I'm so happy it called that, because there was a lot of people fighting me on that one.
Nice. Cutie Monica wants to know, what do you think of the story mode levels so far? Are they about as enjoyable as standard Mario levels, or as enjoyable as a well-made Mario Maker 1 level?
Oh man, that is hard to say. I don't think we played enough to really say for sure, especially because a lot of the ones we played were early games still. But I would say, they felt like well-made levels, so I would say that they could probably almost pass as proper Mario levels. Maybe not quite, because they do seem to be playing with the gimmicks a little bit more than the typical Mario levels do. Like it did seem like the developers are leaning a little bit more into the more creative Mario Maker side of things, rather than making a level that flows super, rather than just making a level that just flows completely well. Like, it does seem like they're kind of playing around with the elements a little bit more. I don't mean that as a negative. Like, they're just kind of like leaning into what the new objects can do, which I like. But yeah, they seem to be just well-built Mario Maker levels. But again, we only played a small handful of them.
Next up, we have Museyip, who wants to know, what do you enjoy most about the slopes and the angry sun?
I like just that the angry sun's back. I've wanted him forever, so I'm glad he's here. As for slopes, it will allow you to create like much more organic feeling levels. Rather than having you jump every time you want to change elevation, you can just have Mario run up it, and I love that. Or slide down even. So it will just make levels feel a little more natural, and also finally get away from from every level feeling like it's based in the Super Mario Brothers style as the original game was. Which weren't slopes at all, whereas pretty much every other Mario game had slopes. So it's gonna kind of change how Mario Maker feels in general, and that's great.
I'm just happy they're there.
Exactly.
Heavy Luigi 64 wants to know, is multiplayer as good as you thought it would be?
It's probably, that's hard to say. Like we had a lot of fun with that at the event. I think it was really fun. We were playing co-op, of course, and although we were treating it kind of competitively, and that was pretty enjoyable. My only concerns, as I've said before, is when it comes to competitive, it seems that it may only be based around who reaches a goal first, which could still be really fun. I think that'll be a really good time with everyone just racing to get to the end. My only concern is when it comes to the secondary objectives, the clear course conditions, the fact that it doesn't seem to matter who activates it. Like as soon as one person gets the goal, or reaches that condition, then the goal appears for everyone. So it kind of can screw over the person who met the condition, as whoever gets to the goal first is still the only thing that seems to matter. At least based on what my interpretation of it is. Yeah. But overall, yeah, it was fun. I can't wait to play more of it.
It's good chaos.
It is good chaos, exactly.
Jack Marchioni wants to know, so the first game had a boss theme and a bonus theme for each style. Do those return, or are there more? And thanks for all that you guys do.
So not only are those back, being the bonus round as well as the boss music, there's also a final boss music, in addition to there being other music tracks, because there's a whole music section, and those include tracks from other gaming consoles, like Mario on Nintendo 64, or Mario on the GameCube, being Mario Sunshine, or Mario Galaxy for the Wii. So yeah, there's a lot of music going on here, compared to the first game. It doesn't seem to be a ton, because I just mentioned pretty much all of them, but there is definitely more going on here, which is pretty exciting.
Pixel Squid wants to know, is shaking items, objects, etc. still work like in Super Mario Maker 1?
Oh man, I didn't think to check because for two reasons. One, when you're with a quick access panel, there's really no point to it now. We just hold on an enemy and it pops up the little options to show you what all you can, how all you can modify them. So there's really no point. It's way easier. And two, even if it were, when you're using your finger, unless they lower the sensitivity of how much you have to shake it, it's going to be way harder to shake it with your finger than a stylus. So it may be back, I don't know, but there's also no point if it is.
Yeah, my guess is it's gone.
Yeah, that would be my guess too.
Inkling Mario wants to know, do you think it will be way more easier to make levels in handheld mode instead of docked mode?
Yes. Especially at first, it definitely felt way more natural coming from the original game. Nintendo did say that to their own testers, or to their own treehouse people, some of them prefer playing in handheld or in docked mode, and that works fine for them. I'm sure that's the case. They're also very biased, so. But I'm sure you can get good with it. And maybe I will, maybe that's how I'll play it too. I mean, I will have to some extent for footage at all, or for streaming as well, which is a little bit unfortunate because I didn't love it playing it that way at the event. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's something you probably just will get used to. But between the two, I feel like handheld mode probably will be the way to go. It's just way faster.
Polar998 wants to know, is it worthy of the title Mario Maker 2?
I think it is. Yeah, I absolutely think it is. It's everything in the original game plus way more. They added an entire new style, which really does change a lot about the game. They're adding new objects. They effectively double the amount of level styles or level themes available with not just the new ones, but or effectively more than doubled, but also with all the night versions of them. So there is a ton going on here, and especially with everything they're adding isn't just in isolation, but how it affects everything else. There are a crazy amount of possibilities now that we haven't even seen the extent of yet. That's a crazy thing. There's so much going on here. We haven't even seen how all it'll fully interact with everything else. So that's what will be really exciting here. So I think it absolutely earns the moniker Super Mario Maker 2.
Just for the sheer possibilities when it comes to the style of levels you create, I think that really changes things.
I think the only possible argument I can see it falling maybe just slightly short of what I would hope from a true sequel is the lack of more than a single new style. If it were up to me, I would have added maybe one more if there's not anything else in the game that we don't know about. I think there have been hints that there are more because in the section where 3D World is, it does say styles like other styles or whatever, and there's plenty of room for it. So I'm hoping there is more, but that's maybe the only slight concern I have in terms of like new content. Because while 3D World is awesome and adds a lot, I would love for there to be at least one more.
Yep. That Lord Muffin wants to know, what is your favorite new music track from the game so far? I love the Night Snow theme personally.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I mean, for me, I keep going back to the 3D World editor for the ground theme. I just love it. I just love those bops or those bas. It's just so cheerful. It makes me just want to play and it just create levels endlessly just to hear that music.
Kyle Hurley wants to know, did anything seem notably absent from the 3D World style compared to the others? As in, anything you'd consider vital to Mario Maker, or even something from 3D World that you were surprised not to see?
Not yet. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. It seemed pretty complete, but it's one of those things where maybe when I play with it more, I can see something standing out. I mean, the biggest drawback to me is it's still a bummer to me that it's not compatible with the other styles. In that, if you try changing between it to the others or vice versa, as I said earlier, you have to start from scratch, and that really does annoy me. I wish they had figured out a way to make them compatible, whether adding more objects or or more versions of the existing objects, so you can switch it between them all, or having objects that exist only in 3D World turn into like a close version of it in the others, like the closest nearest object, I suppose. Like where I'm trying to think of an example here, like where I forget what they're called, the jumping mice things.
Oh yeah,
where they would turn into like, I don't know, a Goomba or something. I don't care if it's not the exact enemy. I just wish you could convert them back and forth like that. So
yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it seems like it took all the best elements from 3D World. It is a little bit of a shame that they're not making completely new assets for some of these enemies. Like, I would have loved to see what Bowser Jr. looks like, since I don't think he's available to fight in this. And it is only Cat Bowser is an option to fight in that. As far as other ideas, I think it would have been kind of fun or funny to have the Goomba costume from the game. Just have some way to have maybe stealth-styled enemies. Or even going by that same idea, the spotlights. So you can actually have some true stealth levels that you could possibly make. That'd be really cool.
That would be amazing. I mean, they do have some spotlights in the form of when you're playing, I think the Ghost House versions at night, where the spotlight appears around Mario. But that's more so you can see him than it is stealth. But
yeah. Slackot wants to know, what's the limit for doors this time around?
Don't know. We didn't try adding more than 4 sets of doors, so I don't know if they added more or not.
I guess by that same I guess by that same token, Atticus Ori wants to know, did they increase the limits on how much of each item type you can place? I kind of understand the limit. I kind of don't care. Let my levels lag. I want all the items.
Again, something we didn't check. Like, we just didn't have time to sit there and fill in all the spots and like count them afterward. I will say, based on some of the story or some of the single-player levels we played, maybe they didn't increase the limit, but some of those levels did seem to be pretty fully featured, but I can't say that definitively, so I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a higher limit here.
Mark Round wants to know, what would be the one thing you would add to the game that hasn't been included, other than multiplayer with friends? Do you think it would benefit from another solo online mode alongside Endless Challenge, whether it be 100-man or a new mode?
Just in general, like, I think I already touched on it. I wish you could, use 3D World style stuff in other styles and vice versa. Having proper clear conditions in the versus mode online, like whoever reaches 100 coins first is a winner as opposed to reaching the flag, which doesn't seem to be the case. And also Koopalings. I wish I could have more bosses, so Koopalings would be great. Yeah,
it would have been great to have a way to change Bowser Jr. to the other Koopalings. That would have been a lot of fun.
For sure.
Shane wants to know, does Mario 3 have any unique power-ups? Tanuki, Frog, Hammer Suit?
Not that we saw. It seems to be the same as the original, and quick tangent, that's fine for me for the most part. I mean, I wish, don't get me wrong, I would love for there to be more power-ups. In Mario 3, it doesn't bug me that much. The only thing that bugs me is the fact that in the new Super Mario Bros. Youth style, it's still only the helicopter suit, or propellable, yeah, the helicopter suit as a power-up, instead of the flying squirrel, which is what that game had as its main new power-up. I don't get it. I don't get it, Derek.
Yeah, that is a bit unfortunate. Would have made for some interesting levels, especially like airship themed levels. I don't know. It's weird.
Yep.
Flash Bear wants to know any estimation as to how long the story mode might take to complete.
Yes, and I have some speculation in how long it might take based on extrapolations of how long some portions took me already. With that said, a condition of the embargo is we actually can't talk about how long the game is, so sorry.
Valsu wants to know, what is your favorite new addition to the game?
In a grand sense, absolutely the 3D world style. I'm in love with that. I feel like almost every level I want to make now will be in that style. We'll see if that ends up being true for the final game. Beyond that, I mean, slopes. Come on, it's been my number one most wanted feature since the original, especially because it finally makes me want. It finally allows me to create a stage I've been wanting to since the original game, and I can't wait to show you what I come up with. I don't have it fully planned out yet, but I'm excited about the possibilities of what it could be. So.
Yeah. Chris Ferguson wants to know, did you find any assets between games that completely changed functionality, like how Yoshi became the Karibo shoe? If so, can you say what?
No, we didn't. We didn't notice anything because I think, I mean, as far as I know, I think most of the new objects, or if not all the new objects they've added, do exist in all the other styles, minus the 3D world style, of course. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of those, and in every case, it seems like their equivalent is already there, and they're not changed at all. And especially since we're not getting new enemies, I don't think that much, so they don't really need to change that much. They're just always there. So, yep. Bumbles wants to know, how are the slopes? Are they really a game changer for making courses? And how is making courses on the Switch in general, which is handheld mode or dark mode? He's going a lot of other questions we already covered. But I guess the big one is like, do you truly believe slopes are the game changer everybody thought they were?
I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, yes and no. I mean, they are in a very subtle way, I think. It's something you're not even going to notice while playing these levels, just because they're just such a natural extension of how you can build stages now. So, I mean, they are a game changer in the sense that they will literally change how people build levels. But I don't think it's something people will really notice that much consciously. I think it's just more of a subtle improvement, which I will like. Yeah, I think a lot of people will enjoy, but it's something that it's not gonna like slap you in the face with. So it's not like the catsuit or something.
Yeah, exactly. Kagan wants to know, what item replaces the mystery mushroom in the Super Mario Brothers theme? I don't think we saw anything.
I don't think we saw anything. Yeah, I don't think we saw anything there. So nothing, nothing right now, at least. But, hey, again, with that unlockable or seemingly unlockable hammer that we talked about earlier, that could be like, maybe that's filling in that gap, right? Maybe that becomes accessible maybe that's what becomes accessible in every style, and it does something different depending on which, game you're playing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it may be possible. I could see that. Yeah. So, Mevins wants to know, how do you think a Super Mario Odyssey theme would work?
Oh man, it'd be amazing because you'd have to have Cappy, which means you'd have to be able to take over enemies, and that would be so freaking fun. Like if that is somehow like a secret style, that'll blow my mind. The reason why I don't think it is because they would be marketing the hell out of it, and they're not. Yeah. So any other additional styles are ones that aren't nearly as marketable as 3D World. So that's why it'd be either Mario 2 or a Game Boy style, for instance, or maybe even Mario 64. I don't think it's going to be there. But if there were 3D Worlds, or if there were another 3D game, it'd probably be 64, which would be awesome. But again, isn't that marketable? But it would look kind of like hot trash. So it'd be cool with a retro angle. But yeah, as much as I would love Odyssey, it's not coming. I don't think it'll be there at launch. Maybe possibly DLC. But that's more of a Mario Maker 3 style. I would think if it's ever going to be there at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it'd be cool to have a galaxy theme, so you can actually have planetoids that you can like go around and
gravity really cool. And stuff. Oh, yeah. That'd be so fun.
That'd be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Sutton wants to know, was the Switch touchscreen as responsive as the Wii U gamepad? Did you have any problems with it?
I mean, it's definitely responsive. That's not a problem. I mean, it being a capacitive screen means it works even better if you're using your finger than the Wii U's would. The bigger issue is that is just that you're primarily using your finger, or that by default you're using your finger and not a stylus, which isn't as precise because your finger is a lot bigger than a stylus. Now, you can grab styluses. In fact, if you pre-order the game in Europe, for instance, you can get a stylus that way. Unfortunately, that's not the case in America. Now, granted, any other capacitive stylus, any other capacitive touchscreen stylus should work. I just don't know if it'll work as well as a capacitive. As a resistive style one. Right. I'm confusing myself with all these terms here.
I know I'm always confused, but that's all right. Anyway, we got Straight Brian here wants to know, is there any way to change the music tracks in levels this time around?
Not that we saw. I mean, beyond the how it worked in the original game, where you can add different visual and sound effects to the stage, which can change the music. But beyond those, it doesn't. As far as we can tell, there doesn't seem to be an option yet to change music.
Yeah. Andrew Ricketts wants to know, it appeared that in a multiplayer game, a clown car that was taken by one player immediately respawned. Does the game do this automatically so that anything required to finish the level is available to all players? Same with power-ups from question blocks. Thanks.
Oh man, I wish we knew how that worked. But unfortunately, we weren't able to test. We didn't get the chance to test levels we built ourselves in multiplayer. So I don't know if that's something you have to set, or if it just something that happens naturally within multiplayer itself. But I can say that we did see something similar for Yoshi as well. So it's not just clown cars that can respond to multiplayer, but Yoshi's as well. But again, we don't know fully how that works in that case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be interesting to see if finish the level as Super Mario and hey, you run out of mushrooms, so you can't actually finish it. So
exactly,
not sure what happened in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Running with Scissors wants to know, do they include new final boss themes for the games that included that don't have final boss themes?
We don't know for sure, but based on how the previous Mario Maker game worked, almost definitely. But again, can't say for sure.
Charles or Kiyoshi wants to know, can you take the Koopa out of the Koopa car like how shaking a Lakitu in its cloud in Mario Maker 1 makes it just a cloud?
That's something we need to test more. From playing around with it, I didn't see it, but we didn't try the quick access panel. So it was something we did try, was we tried putting Bowser in the car while the Koopa was still in it, and it just deleted the entire thing. So it made me think that it's not possible, but we can't say for sure, because maybe there's an option to remove the Koopa, by using the quick access panel. But the thing is, for me, I feel like if that were possible, or more specifically, if it were possible to put other enemies in it, in the car, then the car would just be available as its own thing, rather than having the Koopa in it by default. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of thinking it's just there, or rather, I'm kind of thinking it might be only Koopas that can drive it. But maybe there's an option to remove the Koopa, so the car is just there by default. So
yeah, better set up for racing courses if you want to make that.
Yeah.
Max Perino wants to know, can you do local multiplayer on the same Switch? And that's easy enough to answer.
Yes, you can. We did it. We have video of it.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so definitely we have more videos going up of it too, probably within the next day or so, if not already. So definitely check those out. But yeah, it's super fun. I love playing on the same system. I'm really all about the couch experience. And that's what this game definitely has in spades. So you can play any level you want in multiplayer on the same screen, and it's great.
Yep. Happy Mask wants to know, are all of the 3D world moves translated to 2D, like rolling and high jumping after a ground pound and the others?
Oh, we didn't check rolling, but it seems like almost everything is there. I can't name it all off the top of my head, but as we predicted in the analysis, almost everything is there, it seems. I'm trying to think of one. There was one thing I noticed that seemed to be missing, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But even beyond that, they're adding stuff that wasn't kind of there originally, like the new spin jump, which kind of was there in the original, where you can spin with a control stick and then jump, but it works differently now, where you can press it in the air and do you slow your descent by spinning in the air. So it's cool that they even brought that back in a slightly different way. Otherwise, yeah, it really seems like they really carried over the essence of 3D World in this style. I just can't say for sure if everything's there or not, but it seems like most of it is.
Mm-hmm. Blue Dawn 007 wants to know, can you change the hand cursor in create mode?
Oh man, that's a good one. Because you could in the original. by clicking the thumbsticks in, as I recall. That's something I didn't check in this, so... But I don't know if you can or not, because it works differently in this one, where it's now just a hand as opposed to, or rather just like a little tiny Mario Paint-like hand cursor as opposed to like a full human hand. So, especially with, and the fact that we've seen now 2 of them in co-op mode, with one being Mario and one being Luigi, I'm guessing not, but again, can't say for sure.
Jace McDonald wants to know, what's the coolest little detail you've noticed in the game?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm trying to think. Do you have anything, Derek, for this?
Oh boy. I guess I did like how you can sort of see the Koopa car kind of falling apart as it takes more hits. Like just an extra little detail that I would not have expected for it, that makes it a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I think so, and it's part of that too. I love how you can see like little random objects pop out, like a baseball or a sand pail, which is just one of those weird Mario Maker-like things. One of those weird touches. Something else I really did like was when Bowser, when given wings at the least, in the 3D world style, would fly into the background and shoot fireballs at you. I love that. It's something I didn't expect, and I really do like all those little 3D touches they're adding to the gameplay, which you would expect in a game based on 3D world. So I'm hoping there's even more that we haven't seen. But similar examples are also Bonsai Bill, which can launch on the background, and also Charvars, which launch, can jump over you from like the foreground to the background and vice versa.
Pineapple Allen wants to know, is Yoshi available in the Super Mario 3D World style? Not sure if I missed it in a trailer, but I was wondering in case it was unknown.
Doesn't seem to be.
Nope.
Poor Yoshi.
No sign of him. Just stuck in World and New Super Mario Bros. U.
That's right. Yeah. One more Yoshi. Start a petition for that.
There you go. Mijmod wants to know, does the moon have to be unlocked?
As far as we know, I don't think the moon itself has to be unlocked, as far as we know, but the ability to use the night themes without the moon is.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that you need to unlock in reference to the moon. Like as soon like you start with the sun, you switch the sun to the moon, boom, you have it.
Exactly.
Meech wants to know, are there any other playable characters like Peach and Rosalina?
It doesn't seem to be. If there is, Nintendo really didn't offer any hint of it. The only slight thing that does give me some pause is how in the embargo, it was very specific about the characters. Actually, hold on, let me see if I can look at it real quick. Here, I've got it right here. All right, let's just fill time here, Derek. Do you want the Mario theme while I read this real quick? Okay, so here we go. So it specifically says you may cover the playable characters, Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Toadette. So that really could go either way. I mean, the fact that it is being very specific with what you can talk about, but it also makes me think, could there possibly be more here? So I don't know. It's up in the air. From what we saw, there really is no sign of it, but there's always a chance that there may be another unlockable or something later in the game. Like for instance, like what if you do end up beating story mode, you get access to Peach? How freaking cool would that be? What a cool reward that would be if that's how you can play as Peach.
Oh, seriously, that would be pretty freaking awesome.
Or Undo Dog or something, or Mr. Eraser. I don't know. I would love if there are more playable characters there.
Hey, there's your mystery mushrooms.
Exactly. Yep.
Mr. Gaming Person wants to know, do you have to beat a level in single player to upload it, or can you beat it in multiplayer and upload it too?
Wait, if you beat a level in single player, can you post it yourself to online?
Well, basically, you know how you had to actually beat the level yourself in order to upload it to online. He wants to know if it's possible to just do that with multiplayer and not have to do it in single player.
I don't know for sure. I mean, is he asking about? So, I mean, in terms of the editor, you're still going to beat it yourself. But if he's asking if you can do so in co-op as well, probably. I'm guessing. With a second player, but I don't know for sure. We didn't test it, so we didn't try publishing any levels we made. So
right. I mean, it's a good idea at the very least.
It is. Yeah.
Zega X Iron wants to know, can you knock out the Angry Sun with a shell or other items power-ups, and if so, does it respawn?
Oh man, it's something I wish we'd been able to check by.
Exactly. We even have a level with there, but you don't have any ability to actually fight it, so we're sort of stuck. Let's see. Sally V wants to know, since it looks like Nintendo won't use the app with Super Mario Maker 2, what would be the best way to connect with people and share courses, follow course makers, find popular courses to play? What do you recommend?
Watching our videos, of course. Let's see. Well, if you're part of our Discord, we'll be opening up a Super Mario Maker 2 channel, as well as, I'm sure, a sharing channel, which could be really great for levels. Beyond that, yeah, I'm not quite sure, actually. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, just following. I mean, like I said, we'll be doing our best to point out cool levels we come across ourselves. I'm just hoping like the built-in tools now are good enough to help find you those as well.
I mean, the built-in tools do seem much more expanded, so I think that'll help. I mean, you'll definitely be able to follow course makers that you really enjoy. So I think that'll be something you can easily do. Christopher Brayme wants to know, you said you know about things that you can't talk about. Is this a little, a lot, or a middle ground amount of things?
Oh god, I don't even know we can touch on that. This is a loaded question.
That really is. Let's see, Riley Ninfia wants to know, is there any way you could elaborate on the different experience every player will have with story mode? As I'm overall still a bit unsure of what's meant by that.
Yeah, I mean, again, we didn't get to play it too far ourselves, but Nintendo drove home in, like, the presentation, like, they really did say, like, this is going to be, like, a unique experience for everyone. Like, every player's gonna have their own different experience, and, to what extent that fully means ourselves, we don't know. Like, how much of that is just, PR talk, I'm not sure. But we did experience ourselves, like, an option, like, early in the game where we can choose the sequence that we build parts of the castle in. And that will apparently help dictate what levels become available to you, as well as I think like might affect what or when NPC characters show up, and we've seen that some of them will have different like dialogue options as well. So yeah, we don't fully know how well it will play out, but the way Nintendo put it, it did seem like there could be some substantial differences, at least in the way you go through the mode, which is pretty cool. So.
I mean, what's interesting is, mentioned how you can choose different towers to build up, and they specifically told us not to build up one of them. So
yeah, that's right.
Stick to these two. So
that is an interesting thing. They told us to keep away from one of them. So I wonder where the tower is hiding, or whatever it was. The segment, I should say.
Wario LGP wants to know. Well, has three things. Actually, I think there's only one question we can take from here that we haven't answered before. Is there a pacifist clear option? So, go through without hitting any enemies.
So, based on what I remember of the actions I checked out, I only saw two, and neither of them were the ability to prevent you from hitting or killing an enemy. So, unless it's hidden in one of the other goal sections, which I'm not quite sure how it could be, but maybe, I don't think so. But, maybe there's more goals that you unlock, or maybe there's more to it that I'm missing.
Marco wants to know, does each game retain their own physics from their source game, or is New Super Mario Bros. U the basis for all the game styles, just like in Mario Maker 1?
It seems to be just like Mario Maker 1, where the four primary styles share the same physics across each other, which you kind of need if you want to, it'd be kind of a nightmare if you switch styles and completely break the level you're working on. With the different physics of another, so yeah. Of course, each style does have different abilities, like power-ups or moves that are accessible to you, which could also break your levels anyway, but the base physics seem to be the same. And with the possible exception of 3D World.
Right. K/Slash wants to know, is Super Mario 3D World unlocked from the beginning?
Yeah. So one big thing, I don't know if someone else asked this later, but one big thing is that Nintendo told us pretty much everything is going to be unlocked from the get-go. I think we may have mentioned this earlier. There are almost no unlockables this time. They did say almost, so there are still some unlockables. But beyond that, it seems pretty much everything is available from the get-go, which is great. I think that's a good idea.
I think that means, I'm looking through here, and I think we've mostly answered them all. I'm seeing mostly repeats. I mean, we got this question here from Japotsler. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize. Says, is the fly swatting minigame still in the game? That is the most important question.
I hope so. It is important. It's something I wanted to check, and I didn't see it in my time there, but that doesn't mean it's not there. But it was pretty well hidden in the original game. So,
Yep. So yeah, I think that pretty much covered for all our questions. We got, I think, the majority of the wide range of questions that I saw with all these, everybody asking. There was a lot, So, yeah, I think that covers it for our Mario Maker 2 Q&A. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Mario Maker and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.